Well, I've been pronouncing it chassis for the longest time, and people always complain, Sam, you should pronounce it chassis, literally. Like you should pronounce it cupola instead of cupula, or tomatoes and tomatoes. Ugh. I'm going to pronounce it chassis, alright? Deal with it. So welcome back, folks, for a new episode of Leaked. And today is German Day, so I get to butcher the German language a little bit more. Awesome. But let's take a look at the Tier 7 replacement for the Aufklärungspanzer, the Awful Panther, which is the Spähpanzer SP I.C. So this light tank is more suited to the light tank role than the Aufklärungspanzer, in my opinion, because the Awful Panther is basically a Panther's hull with a better engine, but a looks turret. So it's like driving around a Cromwell for scouting than an actual small light tank. So in my opinion, it's a good switch to the smaller version of a light tank. So here's a little history about the Spähpanzer SP I.C. It is derived from the Schützenpanzer right here. And the Schützenpanzer is a light modification of the French Hotchkiss SP-1A. Has a 20mm gun, but no armor. So it is used for scouting and a little bit anti-infantry or aircraft roles, but the 20mm gun will not do anything to tanks whatsoever, obviously. So later on, they modified it into a medevac vehicle called the Sanitas Panzer. They put a radar on it and called it the Radar Panzer. Simple enough. There's a Morser Traeger, which looks like a mortar pit on the back. Alright? And they put a 90mm gun, and they call it the Spähpanzer SP I.C. So Spähpanzer means reconnaissance panzer or reconnaissance tank, like the Spähpanzer RU-251, but they never actually used the RU-251. The RU-251 was quickly developed into the Leopard prototype and later developed into the Leopard 1. The Spähpanzer SP I.C. was replaced with the Spähpanzer Lux, which is this vehicle right here. So it has road wheels or wheels instead of the tracks because it covers rocky terrain a little bit better than the tracks suspension, right? And this reconnaissance vehicle was later shifted to the Fennec. So here it is. It has a laser rangefinder and a 50 caliber, whatever. So it has wheels instead of tracks. So basically, the Spähpanzer SP I.C. was the last tracked reconnaissance vehicle for the West German army. And yeah, I think it's a better fit for the light tank role because the Aufklärungspanzer is just awful. It's not awful, but it just looks weird to be a light tank. And here are the in-game models for the Spähpanzer SP I.C. As you can see, it's a small tank, a little petite small tank in comparison to the likes of the Aufklärungspanzer, which is not that small. It looks like it's a little bit bigger than the AMX 13 series, but roughly the same size as a Bulldog. So that's good. It fits the tech line a little bit better than the Awful Panther. The Awful Panther looks out of place, as well as the RU-251, but whatever. So it's a small tank. And based on the collision model, this tank has no armor. Only 10mm of armor all the way around. So yeah, getting hit with high explosive from a KV-2 or a SU-152, you're dead. Oh, it has no armor. 15mm at best behind the gun mantlet, and that's still crap. So yeah, it's a small petite little tank. Here are the in-game stats. Now it's going to be a Tier 7 German light tank, so it's replacing the Awful Panther. Health is 880, which is below average, I think. I think the average is 900, so that sucks. Engine power is 195, weighs about 10 tons with equipment, so power to weight ratio is roughly 20.2-ish, 0.3-ish, which is not that good. It's below average because the average is about 22, I think. So horsepower of 20.3 or so. It's like the French, the AMX-13s, with around 19 or so. So that sucks. Top speed is 58, which is a little bit slow. Reverse is 22 kilometers per hour, which is Hull traverse is 40 degrees per second, which is medium tank stats, as well as the turret traverse, which is 46 degrees per second. Terrain resistance is also 0.95 for hard, 1.05 for medium, and 1.82 for soft. Wait. This is medium tank status with terrain resistance. So is the turret traverse as well as the hull traverse, as well as the top speed and reverse speed, and power to weight ratio. That's actually quite poor for a light tank. View range is below average in my opinion. It should be around 390. Instead, it's 380. Radio range is 750 meters standards. Hull armor is crap. Turret armor is crap. Gun is a 90mm gun with 39 rounds. 3-round clip per shot is 240 damage. 180 millimeters of penetration. Rate of fire is about 7 rounds per minute. You cannot put a gun rammer, so yeah. At best 7.2 rounds, 7.3 rounds. DPM should be about 1700 at best or so. Yeah, that's weird. It looks like the mobility is not that good. So you should focus on the guns. But the gun is mediocre because the average penetration should be about 170-ish. So the penetration is not like 200 millimeters. Otherwise, this would be great, but it's only 180, so that sucks. Reloads every 20 seconds for the whole clip. So that's... DPM sucks. 1700. Reload time is kind of long for 3 rounds. Oh, man. Alright, accuracy is 0.36, which is mediocre. Aim time is mediocre, 2.3 seconds. And gun depression is 10 degrees. I would expect the gun to have like 200 millimeters of penetration. Otherwise, this gun is not that good in comparison to the crappy mobility. The mobility is like medium tank status, a good medium tank status. But it's a light tank, it's not a medium tank. What? What is going on? That's weird. And let's compare the SPIC with the Awful Panther to see what's being traded off for the switch, I guess. So armor wise, yeah, it's no comparison. It's a Panther's hull. 85mm at the front in comparison to 10. We're not going to talk about that. Yeah. Has no armor whatsoever. Health wise, it's below average. So, Jesus, the Awful Panther has a lot of health. Jeez, so chunky. Alright. Power to weight ratio is below average. Even crappier than the Awful Panther. So, that sucks. Top speed is below average by 5. Reverse is below average by 0.5. Hard terrain resistance, soft terrain resistance, and soft all suck. All below average. What? This is more like a medium tank. That's god awful. Jesus. View range is below average. Alright, so the mobility is crap. Let's look at the traverse. For the turret is below average. 48 instead of 46. Hull traverse is way below average by almost 10 degrees per second. So this tank is not as fast as the average light tanks at tier 7. Maybe the guns will be better. Maybe, I doubt it. So penetration is pretty good. 20 millimeters above average. So that's good. Damage is also above average. So that's good. DPM, however, is not that good. So it's actually pretty crap. 1700 in comparison to about 2400. That's 700 less. Holy crap. That's a terrible DPM. Oh, Jesus. Accuracy is also mediocre, 0.01 above average. Aim time is also not that good. Gun depression is above average, so that's good. But it's an autoloader, so you clip out around 720 damage per whole clip. So if you're going to compare to other autoloaders like the Bulldog, I think you'll lose. Let's look at the Bulldog. Ugh. So with the Bulldog, it has 2,200 DPM if you're using the non-autoloading system. If you are, it's roughly the same, so that's good. But the power to weight ratio is not that good, as well as the terrain resistance, as well as the view range. Man, accuracy is a little bit better. So it's more suited to passive scouting and somewhat sniping than the Bulldog. But if the Bulldog is using the single shot version, the DPM is way better. The penetration is not that bad, 175 in comparison to 180. So, thank you. But yeah, that's weird. I know. Error detected. Error detected. This tank sucks. What? It's not mobile. The gun's mediocre. Alright, let's compare with the AMX 1375. Alright. Penetration is way better than the AMX, as well as the damage. DPM is about the same, so alright, that's good. Alright, accuracy is not as good. Aim time is not as good. Gun depression is a little bit better. Mobility is better. View range is not as good. So yeah, the tank's health is roughly the same. The AMX has a little bit more health. So yeah, the SP-IC is more like a French light tank. You should scout passively with this thing, not aggressively, because it is not as mobile as a T-71 or a Bulldog or a WZ-131. So this tank is not as mobile. The gun, it's a letdown. If you have crappy mobility, at least give the gun some benefits like 200 millimeters of penetration, but 180 is alright. So snipe or passive scout. Don't active scout, because this tank is not going up against T-71s and you'll not outperform those other light tanks. So that's weird. Huh. I mean, the Aufklärungspanzer, the Awful Panther, is also used for sniping, but this tank has more penetration at the cost of DPM, as well as better camo rating, obviously. But that's weird trade-off. Really weird. Huh. And the final opinion about the Spähpanzer SP I.C is that this tank is a passive scout with some flavor of sniping, but I don't know if it's better than the Aufklärungspanzer, the Awful Panther. It might have better camo rating, but not the armor. It is not as mobile, and the gun has more penetration, but less DPM. So yeah, that's weird. I mean, it gives you a sense of passive scouting with sniping. So I think that's the same with the Spähpanzer RU-251. So whereas the French would be passive scouting and assassination burst damage. But this tank has an autoloader, so it's not burst damage, is it? That's weird. With the burst damage, it's like the AMX 13 series, because with one clip of an AMX 1375, it has 6 shots. Each shot does 140-ish damage, so roughly 700 damage or so, 740-ish damage total. So this tank is like an AMX 1375, but which one would I get? This or the AMX? It has a little bit better mobility, not that much armor, so both tanks have crappy armor. Way better penetration than the 144, Accuracy is not that good, as well as aim time, but more gun depression. So this might be somewhat a little bit superior than the AMX 1375, other than the view range and the camo rating. So that's weird. This is a weird tank because it's switching from another weird tank, which is the Awful Panther, which is weird by itself. But this is also weird because you're combining assassination burst damage with passive scouting, which there's already a role, which is the AMX 1375. So, you do have more penetration than that tank. So the trade-off is more penetration at the cost of view range, as well as camo rating. Alright, it's a weird tank. I don't know if you want it. I don't know if it's a good switch for the Awful Panther because both tanks are weird. So I played through the AMX 13 series, and I can tell you that with those light tanks, you do not want to active scout because they're not as mobile as their counterparts, like the Americans or the Chinese, or even the Russians. The Russians are active scouts. The Americans are hybrid because they can assassinate, they can passive scout, they can active scouts, and they have a lot of fucking view range. So the Chinese is more like brawling light tanks, and the British has no light tanks above tier 5. This tank is like assassinating passive scout, but it's more suited to sniping as well. It's a weird combo. Alright, so if you want to get it, it's not as mobile as a light tank should be, and the gun is not that good at DPM, so it's best to support. But then again, the view range is also crap in comparison, so what's the good part about this tank? The burst damage? And the penetration? It might have the best penetration of tier 7 light tanks, but the DPM for the tier is kind of crappy. So sniping, I guess. Whatever. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to me on YouTube for more leak videos about World of Tanks. And as always, follow me on Twitter and Facebook. I stream usually Fridays on Twitch. And if you like my videos, I appreciate it. And want to support my channel, go to Patreon and consider donating. I would appreciate that as well. So as always, thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.